Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with the same module, that is object-oriented programming, and the same chapter, that is chapter number 2. In the last class we have started with this chapter, that is the beginning with the C++. Now I'm today going to continue with the same module, same chapter, that is the C++ basics, or the beginning with the C++. So let's start. This is the first topic, that is what is the C++. So it's an object-oriented programming language. It was developed by Bajnare startup at AT&T Bell Laboratory in Murray Hill, New Jersey, USA in the early 1980s. So this is the theory that we have studied, and we also studied that C++ is an extension of the C with more additional features of the classes, that is construct feature of the Simula 67. So what is C++? It is an extension of the C language. The idea of the C++ comes from the C increment operator plus plus, thereby suggesting that C++ is an augmented, that is the incremented version of C. So what is C++? It is an incremented version or the addition version of the C language. And C++ is a superset of the C. Most of what we have learned about C, that is applied to C++ also. That is, whatever the topics, whatever the we can say logic we have studied in the C, in the same way that we apply to the C++ also. Now there is also a difference between the C and the C++ that we have studied in the first chapter also. C is the procedure oriented, the main focus is on functions. C++ is object oriented, main focus is on classes, right? Then next is applications of C++, that is the uses of C++, in which area the C++ is used. This is also we have studied. This says that since C++ allows you to create hierarchy related objects, we can build special object-oriented libraries which can be used later by many programmers. That is, C++ allow us to create a hierarchy, that is a sequence that is from top to bottom, bottom to top, that we can use. That is hierarchy related objects. We can build special object-oriented libraries which can be used later by many programmers. Then C++ is able to map the real world problem. That is, with the help of C++ we can map the real world problem that is used in the day-to-day life. And the C is the language that is the ability to get close to the machine level languages or details. Then it is expected that C++ will replace C as a general purpose programming language in the near future. That is, in the coming time, in the near future, C++ will replace C as a programming language. Then a simple C++ program, that is a first program, that is a C++ program. This is what we have studied. That is, first of all, there is a IO stream, that is a header file. Then there is a int main, then cout, that is for return purpose, that is C++ is better than the C. Then return 0, that is for returning 0. Why return 0? Because of the int main, that is the main is starting with the int, or the main has a return type int. So that's why we are using the return 0. So this is a program that demonstrates several C++ features. Now, what are the features? This says, like C, the C++ program is a collection of functions. So like a C language, C++ is a collection of functions. The above example contains only one function, that is main. So this is only one function that is used, that is the main function. As usual, execution begins at the main function. Every C++ program must have a main function. That is, this is mandatory condition that every C++ program must contain the main function, whether it may be void main, whether it may be int main. C++ is a free form language. With a few exceptions, the compiler ignores carriage return and white spaces. Like C, the C++ statements terminate with semicolons. So like we are using the C statement also terminates with the semicolon. The similar way we are using in the C language. Then comments, how to use the comments in C++. C++ introduces a new symbol for the comments. That is done by using the double slash. So whenever we want to use a symbol, whenever we use a comment, then we use the double slash. Comments start with a double quotes or double slash symbol and terminate at the end of the line. A comment may start anywhere in the line. So there is no foundation that comment will start from the beginning of the line. No. It is available or it is to insert from anywhere in the line, and whatever follows till the end of the line is ignored. Note that there is no closing symbol. The double slash comment is basically a single line comment. Multi-line commands can be written as follows. So this is a multi-line comment. The following symbol are still valid and more suitable for multi-line command. So this is also optional, that we can use either this one double slash, we can use either slash and the star. We can use either both or style, either or both styles in our program. Since this is a book on C++, we will use only the C++ style. However, remember that we are not insert a style comment within the type or text of the program line. For example, the double slash statement cannot be used in the manner as shown below. So this cannot be used like this one. We cannot use in the looping, that is a commenting purpose, right? Then next is your output operator that is used in the above program. That is how to display the output on the screen. That can be done by using the cout. So this is cout. C++ is better than the C. That causes the string in quotation marks to be displayed on the screen. This statement produces two new C++ features. So this statement means the output statement, that the cout statement produces or introduces two new C++ features, that is cout and this extraction operator. This is known as extraction operator. Right. The identifier cout, pronounced as cout, is a predefined object that represents the standard output stream in C++. So this is the identifier that is known as a cout is a predefined object, that is a cout that represents the standard output stream in C++. Here the standard output stream represents the screen. It is also possible to redirect the output to other input devices. This is known as the insertion, not extraction. This is known as the insertion or put to operator. We can either say insertion operator, we can either say put to operator. It sends out the content of the variable on its right or the object to its left. That is, it sends or it inserts the content of the variable on its right to the object to its left. This is the C++ variable. This is the insertion operator. This is the cout. The object cout has a simple interface. If a string represents a string variable, then the following statement will display the content, that is used with the C++, that is cout and put to operator, then string, that is cout and then operator, then there is a string, that is whatever we want to display, that is displayed with the help of the C++. You may recall that the operator, this one is a bitwise left shift operator, that is it is used with the left shift operator, and it can still be used for this purpose. This is an example of how one operator can be used for different purposes depending on the content. So this can be used for the content, this can be used for different purposes that depends on the context. This is known as operator overloading. That is, we can use the bitwise operator for their loading purpose, for their improvement purpose. So that's also known as operator overloading. An important aspect of polymorphism. So operator overloading is an important aspect of the polymorphism that is defined in or that is discussed in detail in chapter number 17 or 7. Sorry. Then IO stream. That is the IO stream means the how to use the IO stream, that is the input output stream, that is the hash include IO stream. This directive causes the preprocessor to add the content of the IO stream file. That is, this is the header file that is used, that is the IO stream file that causes the preprocessor, that is directive that is used before the processing, to add the content of the IO stream file to the program. It contains declaration for the identifier cout and the output put to operator. Then some old versions of C++ uses a header file such as iostream.h. That is, some old versions can carry out this header file, that is the iostream.h, or either you can write the simple the iostream, or you can write the iostream.h, so that to recognize this is the header file. So anything you can use. This is one of the changes that is introduced or accepted by the ANSI C++. The header file iostream should be included at the beginning of all programs that you can use in the output input statements. This is also one of the header file that is used. That is, these are the various header files. One is asset.h that contains some macros and information for adding the diagnostics that are that aid program debugging. Then ctype.h, then float.h, then limits.h, then math.h, then stdi.h. These are the few header files that can be used with the C and the C++. This contains the library function. Every library function, whether it may be numbers, whether it may be memory allocation, random numbers, any number. Then strings that contains the function prototype for C style string processing functions. Then time.h that is used for manipulating on the time and the date. Then iostream.h that is contains the function prototype for the standard input and standard output functions. Then iomanip.h, then stream.h. Then what are the new files that is added in the inside C++? One is a utility, then vector file, then queue file, then stack byset file, then functional file. Then iterator file, that is how many times it will rotate, that is the iterator file. Then algorithm, then exception, then string, then stream, then local, then limits, then type info. So these are the various header files that is used in C++. Now next is namespace. That is, what is the namespace, why we are using the namespace. So this is a new concept that is introduced by the ANSI C++ standard information or committee. This defines the scope for the identifier that are used in a program. So it defines the scope for the identifier that is used in a program. For using the identifiers defined in this one, we must include the use namespace std. Then is return type of the main. That is, what is the return type of the main. As I told you, whenever there is a int main, so it is used, or it is advisable to use. So it is advisable to use the return 0 in this one if it is a int main, and if it is a void main, so there is no use of using the return 0. So there is no usage of using the return 0, right? So if I'm using int main, then only return 0 is used, otherwise the return 0 is not used. That is the return type of main. Now next is more C++ statements. That is, what are the extra C++ statements. So this is the example that shows how to find out the average of two numbers. That is the average of two numbers. That is the next part. That is how to calculate the average of two numbers. That is if I want to find the average in math, it's simple to find out the average, but in C++ it's difficult to find out the average of two numbers. So first of all, hash include iostream.h. That is a hash include iostream. That is a header file that is used. That is the iostream. Then using namespace std. That is, a namespace is the new term that is used for considering the additional features of the entire C++. Then std. Then int main. That is, a int main means starting of the main, that is that has a return type, that is a int. So it's mandatory to use the return 0 in this one, right? So there is a int main. Hello, hello, hello. Are you able to hear me right now? Larry, my voice is clear to you? Hello, Larry, are you able to hear me right now clearly? Okay. Yeah, Larry, now it's okay? Okay, okay, okay. So this is the program that shows how to use the average of two numbers. So this is use a namespace std, then int main, that is a main function, that is the starting of the main function, then float number 1, number 2. So there are two numbers, one is a number 1 number, one is a number 2 number. Then there are two more variables that are declared, that is a float type, one is a sum, one is the average. Then cout, that is enter the two numbers, that is entering the two numbers, entering that entering the two numbers, that is used for enter. So this is cout, that is enter the two numbers, that is how to this is just used to print on the screen, that is how to enter the two numbers, or this is used for defining, that is defined by the user, that is enter the two numbers. So this is just a prompt, this is a command that is used. Then this is like a scanf. In the same way what we have covered in the printf, that is done by the cout, and in it's cin, that is just the same of the scanf. So in place of printf, the cout is used. In place of scanf, the cin used. So cout, enter the two numbers, cin number 1, number 2. That is read the numbers from keyboard. That is the cin number 1 and cin number 2. Then finding the sum, that is the sum equals to number 1 plus number 2. So adding the two values, that is the number 1 and the number 2. Then finding the average. Average means finding the average of the two numbers, that is the average of two numbers. So that is average equals to sum divided by 2. So sum is the average total number, that is if that is divided by 2, that gives the average. Then cout sum equals to, that is calculating the sum and then display the sum, that is the sum. Then cout average, that is average, just simply finding the average and print on the screen. Then there is a return 0. So this is the program that shows the average of two numbers. So first of all, it starts with the first one, that is it starts with the header file, that is the hash include iostream.h. Then there is a cout for entering the numbers. This is the header file first of all. Then there is a int main. Then there is a variable declaration, what type of variable we need. Then cout enter the two numbers. Then cin number 1 and number 2, this is like a scanf. So cout is like a printf and cin is like a scanf. Then sum equals to number 1 and number 2, that is the two parts, that is the addition of the two numbers. Then average equals to sum divided by 2, that is finding the average. So it is divided by 2 because there are only two numbers, so calculating the average means divided by 2. If there are 5 numbers, so it is divided by the 5. So that is average equals to sum divided by 2. Then cout sum equals to sum, that is display the sum. So whatever it is used in the put to operator, that is used by the cout. Then in the same way it is also used for printing the average. So first of all the average will calculate it, and then the average will print on the screen, that is average. Then there is a return 0. So this is the output. If the user enters the two number as a 6.5 and the 7.5. These are the two numbers, that is 6.5 and the 7.5. Why this is in 0.5? Because these are into float number, that is these are in the float number, that's why it is 6.5, it is 7.5. The output is the sum is 14 and the average is 7. So this is sum, that is a 14, then the average is the 7, that is the average, that is 14 divided by 2 is 7. Then next is your variable. What are the variables? So the program uses 4 variables in this program, that is program, that is a number 1, number 2, sum and the average. They are declared as a type float by the statement. As I told you, the 4 variables are declared as a float type, that is there are 4 variables, that is number 1, number 2, sum and the average. Right. Then all the declare or variables must be declared before they are used in a program. That is a must, or that is a mandatory condition. Then next is input operator. What is the input operator? That is a cin. Whatever we use in the cin, that is like a scanf, that is known as the input operator. Right. So it's an input statement that causes the program to wait for the user to type in a number. The number that is keyed is placed to the variable in the variable 1. The identifier cin, that is pronounced as the cin, is a predefined object in C++ that corresponds to the first statement that corresponds to the first value in the C++. Here this stream represents the keyboard, that is this stream means the standard input output stream is represented as a keyboard, or represented will be a keyboard. The operator that is your extraction operator. So this operator is known as extraction operator or get from operator, and whatever the operator that is used in the cout, that is known as the insertion operator or the so insertion operator or get from, or this, that is put to operator. So one is insertion and put to, one is exertion or extraction and get from operator. Why it is known as extraction? Because it attracts or it extracts, that is take out the value from the keyboard and assign it to the variable on its right. This corresponds to the familiar scanf operation. Like this one, like insertion operator, this operator can also be overloaded with the operator overloading with the function overloading. This is one of the important point. There is a keyboard. With the help of keyboard, we key in the input, that is done by the cin. Then there is a extraction operator. Then there is a variable name. So this is how the input is given to the C++ by using the cin, that is your get from operator, or that is your extraction operator. Then next is your cascading of input output operator, that is how to cascade or how to use, or how to cascade means how to use multiple extraction, multiple insertion operator in the C++. So we have defined the insertion operator, that is this one, that is your extraction insertion operator that is used with the cout and repeatedly in the last two statements for printing the results. This is cout sum equals to sum. So this is used for finding the send of the string, that is sum equals to, then sends the value of the sum. It sends a new line character so that the text output will be in the new line. The multiple usage of the this extraction operator in one statement is known as the cascading. So whenever we use the multiple use, that is a more than one time use, that is this one, that is known as the cascading. So cascading means using more than one operators or using more than one extraction or the insertion operator, that is known as the cascading. So when cascading an output operator, we should ensure necessary blank spaces between different items. Using the cascading technique, the last two statements can be combined as follows. So if whenever I use the cascading statement, that is combining the two extraction or the insertion operator, this can be used like this one. That is cout sum equals to, that is sum, then slash n, that is used for the next line. Then average, then next line. This is one statement but provides two lines of input or output. If you want only one line of output, the statement will be this one. We can cascade the input operator as shown. So we can cascade like this one, like number 1, number 2. At the same time, the number 1 will also stored in the memory. In the same way, the number 2 is also stored in the memory. So we can do the operations at the one go. The values are assigned from the left to the right. This is one of the important point. The question arises, what value will come first? So it will come from the left to the right. So number 1 will become first. From left to right, from this to this. So number 1 will become first and the number 2 will become on the next. That is from left to the right. That is, if we key into value, that is 10 and 20, then 10 will be assigned to number 1 and 20 will be assigned to number 2. That is, so this is thus the explanation of the program, that you can see about the average of two numbers. That is how to give the input, how to get the output, how to use the insertion operator, how to use the extraction operator, how to cascade the operator like get from or operator or put to operator. Then next is an example with class. That is how to use the class. That is an example with the class. So this is one of the important point, that is how to use the class in the C++. So one of the major features of C++ is classes. That is one of the major tasks, one of the major feature, one of the major characteristics of C++ is classes. They provide a method of binding together data and functions which operate on them. That means binding of the data, binding of the functions into a single unit, that is known as class. Like structure in C, classes are user defined data types. So just as a similar of the structures, the classes or class is also user defined data type in the C++. This is the usage of the class. That is how to use the class. Then there are header file, that is a hash include stdi.h. then there is a class, that is a name, that is a person. So there is a name of the class, that is a person. Then this is a user defined data type, so we can define according to us. So we have defined the char, that is a string, that is a name that contains 30 characters. So this is the array that we have declared. So this is char name 30, that is a 30 is the total size that starts from the 0 and end with the 29, and that is of char, that is a part of the string. Then there is int age, that is one more variable is declared, that is of int, that the name of the variable is age. Then public, so this is a we can say that the mode, because there are three modes: public, private, and the protected. So this is the mode, that is a public. So after this program, let's see what is the usage of public. I'm just telling you right now that whenever we use the whenever we want that everyone can access the values, everyone can access the function, that is done by the public. That is void get data void. So this is a function that is defined. So these are the various data members, that is these are the various variables that are known as data members in this. And next there is a variable, next there is a public, next there is a variable that is defined, that is also known as the public. So this is the variable declaration, that is the variables are one is of name, that is of character type, that is name 30, and the age, that is of int type, that is a name. So one is of character type, one is of int type. Then there is a member declaration, that is the public, that is declared in the public mode. That is a void get data void, void display void. So there are two functions that is used, one is the get data, one is the display. So these are the two member functions, and first of all, name and the age are two data member. So class contains, as I told you in the last class contains two parts, or classes of two parts. One is the data members, one is the member function. So data members are name and the age, and the member functions are get data and the display. Then the class will be closed with the semicolon. This is one of the important line. This class will be closed with the semicolon. So this is the class, that is a person. These are the data members, like a variable, and these are the member functions that is used to get the data, that is used to operate on the data. And then there is a closing curly braces, there will be a semicolon, that is a closing semicolon. Then next is your void person, that is now the definition of the various functions. Definition of the various function means that there are two types of function, that is get data and the display. So now the definition of these two functions. How is that possible? First of all, there is a return type. Then there is a class name. What is the name of the class? That is a person. So this is return type, that is a void, and there is a name of the class, that is a person. Now this is one of the important operator. This is known as scope resolution operator. So these four dots are known as scope resolution operator. Then there is a get data, then there is a void. Get data means the name of the function. This is get data, this is get data, then there is a void. Then see out, enter the name. So this is just like for the printing on the screen, that is enter the name. Then see in, that is also the name, that is key in the value or see in the value or entering the value into the storage into the data value, that is see in name. Then enter the age, that is the next part, then there is a age. So this one is see out, one is see in, one is see out, one is see in. So entering first of all name, then entering the age. Then the name will be captured in the memory or stored in the memory, then the age will be stored in the memory. This is covered in the get data, that is how to get the data. That is void person, get data, enter the name, then name, enter the age, then age. Then next is your display function. So this is the get data, that means getting the data by asking from the user, that is the name and the age. Then display function, that is used for showing on the screen what is the output or what is the result. This is see out name, that is the name, then see out age, age. In simple terms, this is used as a cascading operator. Why? Because these two put to operator, this is the put to operator or the insertion operator, this is used in the same line more than one, that is known as cascading of these operators. So this is name, this is again name. So this will print as it is because it is available in the double quotes, and this is a variable name, that is a name. So whatever the output of the variable, that is showing over here. So this shows like in the next line, that is name, that is a colon, then there is a name of the person that the user have entered. Like in C, whatever we use in the double quotes, that is printed as it is. Then what is the value stored in the variable? That is stored in the variable name. Then next is your display function, that is used for displaying the values. That is cout name, that is name. Then age, like age will be printed. Then this is also closed. So one get data is also closed. One put data, that is the display, is also closed. And this is the format. There is a return type. There is a class name, that is a person. Then there is a scope resolution operator. Then there is a get data, that is the name of the member function. Then there is a void. Then there is a int main. As I told you, C++ is a bottom-up approach. So at the end there is a int main. At the end we can display the int main or the void main. So this is the int main. Then there is a class name, that is a person. So person is the name of the class. So this is the class name, that is a person, and this is the object of the person, that is a P. So that is, first of all, there is a int main, then there is a person, that is the name of the class, then there is a object that is declared, that is a P, right? Then P dot get data, that is the object will access the member functions of the value, that is the P dot get data. Then P dot display. So these are the two variables, or these are the two member function that is used, that is P dot get data, then P dot display. Then there is a return 0, that is a, and then there is a closing of the curly braces. So one is int main, then there is a person P, that is a P is the name of the object that is used, and the person is the name of the class. Then P dot get data, that is getting the data, that is accessing the member function, that is a P dot get data. Then P dot display, that is getting the or accessing the member function, accessing the next function, that is a display. That is P dot get data and P dot display. Now the output is, if the user enter the name as a Ravinder and enter the age as a 30. So this will display like this one. Name is Ravinder and the age is 30. Note, Cin can read only one word, and therefore we cannot use names with blank spaces. So there is only one input that is given. So Cin can take only one name at the same time. So that is Cin name. So Cin can read only one word at the same time and cannot be used, or we cannot use their names with blank spaces. This program, that is we have considered, that we have studied right now, defines the person as a new data of type class. So it defines the person as a class. The class person includes two basic data type items. So the class person contains two basic data type items and the two functions to operate on that data. So there are two data members, like the name and the age. Yeah, like the name and the age, and there are two functions. One is get data, one is display. So I'm repeating again. This says the class contains two basic data types items and two functions. Two data type items means two data members and two functions to operate on that data. These functions are known as member functions. So whatever the function that is used, that is known as the member functions. The main program uses person to declare variables of its types. As pointed out earlier, class variable are known as objects. So whatever the class variable, that are known as the objects. Here P is an object of type person. That is, P is also an object of the type person. Class objects are used to invoke the functions defined in that class. So class object means classes are used to invoke the function that is defined in that class. More about classes and object is discussed in chapter 5. So more about the classes and the function, what is classes, what is function, that is defined in, or that is discussed in chapter 5. Now next is, what is the structure of C++ program? Till now we have studied this is C++ program, this is the header file. So now what is the structure? That is what is the layout, what is the content, or what is the format of the C++ program? So this is one of the important point. First of all, hash includes file, that is the including the file, that is the including the header file. That is the first part, is the include files. Then class declaration, that is the defining the class that contains the data members as well as the member function, that is the defining the class. So one is your include file, that is the header files. One is your class declaration, that is the declaring the class. So first of all, then there is a member functions definition. So whatever the member functions we have declared in the class, that will be discussed, or that will be used, or that will be defined in the with the use of the member function. So that will be defined with the use of the member function, that is defined in the member functions. So one is the hash include file, that is the header files. Then there is a class members, that is a member function that is declared. Then there is the next one, that is the rotating operator, that is also used. Then there is a member function definition. So whatever the data member, whatever the member function that is declared in class, that will be used, or that will be defined as a member function definition. Then main function program, that is the main function means the main part of the program, that is your void main or int main. So these are the four parts of the C++ program, and these are the very essential parts. So first is including the header files, then class definition or class declaration, that is including the data members as well as the member functions. Then there is a member function definition. So whatever the member function declared in class, that will be defined outside the class. Then there is a main function program. So the main function program means the main part of the program, that is a void main. This is the structure of a C++ program. So it is a common practice to organize a program into three separate files. The class declaration is placed in the header file, and the definition of member functions go into another file. This approach enables This program enables the programmer to separate the abstract specification with the more than one part, or with more than one data of the interface from the implementation of the detailed function. So this simply says that the main function is divided, or main function is separate from the class definition and the member functions. Next, how to create the source file. This is the ending up of the chapter. That is how to create the source files in the same way that we have studied in the C language, how to run the program, how to create the source file. The same way, there is a compiler that is known as the Turbo C, that is used for operating the files, for operating the content, that is known as the Turbo C. And that Turbo C is used for writing the program. And after writing the program, there is a compilation, as we studied in the that your C language, that is compilation program, that is used for compiling the program in the same way that is used for compiling the programs. Compiling, how to compile the program, that is also studied by using the compiling, by using the key, that is the Alt F9. So that Alt F9 is used for compiling the program, the same way as we studied in the C language. And there is an introduction of the Visual C++, that is a Microsoft application development system for C++ that runs under the Windows. Visual C++ is a visual programming environment in which the basic program's components can be selected through menu choices, buttons, icons, and other predefined methods. Development and execution of C++ programs under Windows are briefly explained in Appendix C. Now this is a summary. What is a summary? First of all, it is said C++ is a superset of C language, that is a addition of the C language. Then it adds a number of object-oriented features like object, inheritance, function, overloading, operator overloading to the C. Then these features enable building of the program with clarity, extensibility, and ease of maintenance. Then C++ can be used to build a variety of systems such as editor, compiler, databases. The next point says C++ also supports the interactive input and output features, that is including the comments. Then, like C program, execution of all programs begin at the main function and end at the return function. So it begins at the main function and it ends with the return function. The header file IO stream should be included at the beginning of all the program that use the input-output operations. The next point says all NSI C++ program must include using namespace std directive. A typical C++ program would contain 4 basic sections. That is, a main program, a main C++ program contains 4 parts. One is files, one is class declaration, one is the member function definition, one is the main function, that is a void main. Next point says like C program, C++ program can be created using any text editor like Turbo C, editor, Notepad editor, WordPad editor, any editor. And most of the compiler system provides an integrated environment for developing and executing the program. For compilation purpose, there is a Alt F9 for compiling, and for execution there is a Control F9. And these are the various key terms that is used, and these are the various questions. So let's take a break right now. Next, after the break, let's start with the third chapter, that is the tokens, expressions, and the control structures. So let's stop over here only, then take a break, and then move to the chapter number 3, that is what are the tokens, what are the expressions, and what are the control structures. So let's take a break right now. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. I'm so sorry for the delay because there are some disturbances for the assignment, for the something that is the reply for the assignment. So there are so many issues that is related to the assignments. That's why I take the time for that. So let's start with the third chapter, that is the tokens, expressions, and the control structures. That is, what is the token, what are the expressions, and what are the control structures. So as we mentioned earlier, C++ is a superset of the C, and therefore more construct or the most construct of the C are legal in C++ with their meaning unchanged. However, there are some exceptions and additions. In this chapter we will discuss these exceptions, these addition that is related to the C++, that is related to the C language. So this is the main difference, that is a difference between the C++ and the C language. So first of all, there is a tokens. So as we know, the individual smallest units in a program that are known as the token. So anything that is the smallest unit or smallest individual units in a program, that is known as the tokens. C++ has the following tokens, that is, these are the following tokens of the C++ that contains or that is available in the C++. One is the keyword, then identifiers, then constant, then string, then operator. These are the following tokens that is available with the C++. Right. So first of all, there is the keywords. That is, the keywords means the keyword that is used, that is, for example, auto, for example, int, that are known as the keywords. Then there is the identifier that is used to identify anything, that is used to identify the data type, that is the identifiers. Then constraints, that is a constraint that is used with the C language. Then strings that are used to operate on the character part, that is, whenever we combine multiple characters, that becomes the string, that is also a part of the token. Then there are operators, that is how to use various operators like plus plus, minus minus, that is the operators. Then keywords, that is a keyword that is used. Now what are the keywords? So anything that is the smallest unit or that is very represented for the C language, C++ language, anything that is used that has a meaningful purpose, that is available in the keyword. For example, int, float, these are the keywords because they are pre-approved or they are prefixed in addition to the or in against to the data type, so that is your keywords. Then identifier and constant, that is, what is the identifier and what are the constants. So identifiers refers to the name of the variables, functions, arrays, classes, etc. created by the programmers. So identifier means the name of the variable, that is, what is the name of the variable, what is the name of the function, what is the name of the array. So if I declare the array as a A10, that means the A is the name of the array, that is also known as the identifier. Functions, for example, if we write the function as a sum, that is also identifier. Arrays, classes, etc. that is created by the programmer. They are the fundamental requirement, or the identifiers are the fundamental requirement of any language. Each language has its own rules for naming these identifiers. That is, each and every language has its own rules, has its own regulation for naming these identifier. For naming these identifier means for naming these conventions. The following rules are common to the both C and the C++. So these are the common rules that is used with the identifier. Now the first rule is only alphabetic characters, digits, and underscores are permitted. That is, whenever we declare the identifier, whenever we declare the name of the variable, functions, so then only the alphabetic characters, digits, and underscores are permitted. That only the alphabetic scores, then only the alphabetic numeric keys are permitted. Then the name cannot start with the digit. That is, the name of any identifier, name of the variable cannot start with the digits. Then uppercase and the lowercase letters are displayed. So there is a difference between the uppercase letters and the lowercase letters. Then a declared keyword cannot be used as a variable name. That is, a declared keyword that is used or cannot be used as a variable name. Then this is auto, break, double, enum. A major difference between C and the C++ is the limit on the length of the name. That is, what is the limit on the length of the name? While inside C, that is in C, there is a limit of 32 characters in a name. But in C++, there is no limit on the length, and therefore all the characters in a name are significant. That is, all the characters in a name are same. So in C, that is of 32 characters. In C++, that is of no limit of the on the length. Then care should be exercised while naming a variable which is being shared by more than one file containing C and the C++ program. So care must be exercised, or care must be taken while naming a variable, while give a name to the variable. Then constraint refers to the fixed value. So identifier means the name of the value, variable, right? And then constraint refers to the fixed value that do not change during the execution of a program. So if I say constraint, that means the fixed value, that values does not change, or that value do not change during the execution of a program. Then next is like C also supports variable literal constants that include the integer, characters, floating, and string. These are the various examples. This is the integer, that is a decimal integer, then float integer, octal, string. So these are the various constraints that is used. C++ supports two types of string representation. One is the C style string, and other is the string class type that is introduced with the standard C++. Then next is basic data type. That is, what are the basic data type? And this is one of the important topics. So please listen carefully. C++ data type is divided into three parts. One is the user-defined data type, one is the built-in data type, one is the derived data type. User-defined means the structure, union, class, enum that are known as user-defined data types. Built-in means int, char, float, void that are known as inbuilt data type. And the derived data type means array, pointer, function, reference that are known as derived data type. So there are three parts. One is user defined, one is the inbuilt, one is the derived type. In user defined, that is defined by the user, like structure, union, class, enum. Built-in means that is already defined, that is already used, that is int, char, float, double. Then derived types, that is derived means the how it is derived, like array, function, pointer, reference. That is a derived type. There are three parts of data type that is used in the C++ language: user defined, inbuilt, and the derived. This is the hierarchy of the C++ data type. Both C and the C++ compiler supports all the built-in, also known as the basic or fundamental data type, with the exception of void. That is, with the exception of void means with the usage of, or with the exception of void, other than the void, the basic data types may have different or several modifiers preceding them to serve the needs of the various situations, various conditions. These modifiers include signed, unsigned, long, short that may be applied to a character and integer basic data types. However, the modifier long may be applied to a double. That is, a long may be also used as a double. Data type representation is a machine that is specific in the C++. That is a table that defines the basic data types and their ranges. So these are the basic data types. One is the char that takes the 1 byte, unsigned char also 1 byte, signed char that is from -128 to 127, int, unsigned int, signed int, short int. So these are the various int category, then char category, float category, double category. So these are the various categories of the int, char, float. That is a table of the 3.2. And C++ committee has added two more data types, that is a bool and the wcat. The type void was introduced in the ANSI C. This is a function that is used. One is the void function, one void. Then void pointer gp. So gp is a pointer variable that stores the value of the void type. This is also generic pointer. Now Next is user-defined data type like structures and unions. So we have already studied the structure and the union in C. While these data types are legal in C++, some more basic features have been added to make them suitable for the object-oriented programming. C++ also permit to define another user-defined data type that is known as the class. So in C++ there is another user-defined data type that is also available, that is known as the class, which can be used just like any other basic data type to declare the variables. The class variables are also known as objects, which are the that is the central focus of object-oriented programming. So what is the class variable? That is known as the object. That is the central focus of the object-oriented programming. Next is your enum data type. So it is another user-defined data type which provides a way for attaching a names to a number. That is suppose we are giving the four variable like A, B, C, D that are given a number, that is attaching a number to it. That is provides a way for attaching a numbers or names to a number, thereby increasing the comprehensibility of the code. The enum keyword automatically enumerates a list of words by assigning them values 0, 1, 2 and so on. So it starts with a 0, it ends with 8 and then 1, 2, 3 and carry on till the time or till the variable that is declared. This facility provides an alternative means for creating symbolic constants. The syntax, that is a syntax that is used for the enum statement, is similar to that of struct element. So this is the example that is used like enum, shape, circle, square, rectangle. The enumerated data type differs slightly in the C++ when compared with those in ANSYS C. In C++, the tag name, shape, color and the position becomes new data types. This is the another enum that is used, that is the color background 7, color 7, that is also used. So that is enum is used whenever we give the names to the or numbers to the name, right? Then next is derived data type. That is the derived data type is array, pointer, reference. So these are the derived data type. So this is the arrays that are known as the application of arrays in C++ is similar to that in C. The only extension is the way character array are initialized. The only exception is that the only difference is that the way in which the character arrays are initialized. When initializing a character array in ANSYS C, the compiler will allow us to declare the array size as the exact length of the string constant. For example, char string 3 equals to xyz. That is, we define the array as a string 3. That is whatever the array or whatever the string that contains the 3 character, that is 0, 1, 2, that is of char types, and what is declared in this or what is defined in this, what is stored in this string, that is the xyz. That is a valid in ANSYS C. It assumes that the programmer intend to leave out the null character in the definition. That is, there is no null character. So I am repeating again that we have done in the C. That is in string, the arrays or in an array string, the characters are always finished or characters are always end with the null character. So whenever the ending of the characters or whenever the ending of the string, that is denoted by the null character. But in C++, the size should be one larger than the number of characters is in the string. For example, this one, char string 4 equals to xyz. Why 4? Because 1 is observed or 1 is occupied for the null character. That is a 4 equals to xyz. That is okay for C++. Then next is function, that is how to use the functions. Functions have undergone major changes in C++. While some of these changes are simple, others require a new way of thinking when organizing a program. So functions have changed or functions have undergone major changes in the C++. That is the changes or whatever the function that we used in the C that are slightly different than whatever the function that is used in the C++. Many of these modifications and improvements were driven by the requirements of the object-oriented concepts of C++. Some of these were introduced to make the C program more reliable and more readable. Then next is pointers. So this is just basic. We have discussed these in details from the coming chapter, that is from chapter number 4. But Today only these are some basics, that is this one, this one, just giving or preparing the base for the students, right? Then next is pointers, that is the pointers are declared and initialized as in C. So this is the same as we done in the C language, in the same way we have used in the C++. So pointers are declared and initialized in the as in the C language. Example, first of all there is a int pointer IP. So IP is a array, or IP is a pointer variable because xtick is used. So IP is a pointer variable that points to the data type, that is the int data type. Then int or IP equals to ampersand x. So this is the pointer declaration, that is IP is a pointer variable. Then IP equals to ampersand x, that is the address of x is assigned to IP. So address of x is how it is defined, that it is the address of x because this ampersand is used in place or in addition to the x, that is the address of x is assigned to the IP. So address of x that is assigned or that is given to the IP. Then 10 is assigned to the x through indirection. This is known as indirection. Why? Because this is pointer IP, right? And IP contains ampersand x. So star and the ampersand are related with each other. When star and the ampersand are related or when are combined with each other, they are clash with each other. So that's why the output is only 10. This says C++ adds the concepts of constant pointer and a pointer to a constant. Char pointer constant ptr equals to good, that is a constant pointer. We cannot modify the address that ptr is initialized to. That is, we cannot or we do not want to modify the address. Then int constant pointer ptr equals to num, that is a pointer to a constant. So ptr2 is declared as a pointer to a constant. It can point to any variable of correct type, but the content of what it points to cannot be changed. We have also defined the pointer and the variable that are used as a constant in the following way. This statement declares the CP as a constant pointer to the string, which has been declared as a constant. Next is symbolic constant, that is how to use the symbol. So there are two ways of creating the symbolic constant in C++. Using the qualifier constant, defining a set of integer constant using the enum. So there are two symbolic constants. One is the qualifier constant, one is the enum, that is the enumerators. This is the example that is used. One is the constant int size equals to 10, then in char name size. This will be illegal in C, but it is available or it is legal in the C++. Because in this we have declared that constant int size equals to 10, that is size has a value 10, that is of integer type because we have declared the constant. So whenever we give the char name size, that is a name is an array that contains the 10 values, that is from 0 to 9. That's why it is char name size. And C++ requires a constant to be initialized, and C does not require an initializer if none is given. It initializes the constant to 0. The scoping of constant value differs. A constant in C++ defaults to the internal linkage and therefore is unlocal to the or local to the file where it is declared. In C, constant values are global in the number. They are visible outside the file in which they are declared. However, they can be made local by declaring them as a static. So this is defined, this is how to assign the value to of the x, y and z explicitly. That is enum x equals to 100, y equals to 50, z equals to 200. Then type compatibility, that is one data type is compatible with the another data type, that is one data type supports the another data type, that is a time compatibility. So C++ is very strict with regard to the time compatibility as compared to C. So C++ is very strict means C++ is very hard with regard to the type that is used or that is compatible as compared to the C. For example, C++ defines int, short int, long int are as three different types. They must be cast when their values are assigned to one another. Similarly, unsigned char and the signed char are considered as a different data types. In C++, the types of values that is used that is the types of value that must be the same for the complete compatibility, or else a cast must be applied. These restrictions in C++ are necessary in order to support the function overloading when two functions are using have the same name. That is, if we are using the two functions having the same name but with different argument list but with different variable name, that is known as the function overloading. Right. Another notation difference is that the way the char constants are stored. This is size of operator that is equivalent to size of int, that is available in C. In C++, the char is not promoted to the size of int and therefore size of x. So it is also impossible to use the size of int or size of x. That is also used as a character variable. Then that is also equals to this one. Then next is declaration of variable, that is how to declare the variables or how to declare the variable in the C++, that is a declaration of C++. So C++ allows the declaration of the variables anywhere in the scope. So we can define anywhere at any time the variable in the C++ variable in the program. That is, it is not mandatory that the variables are declared at the top, but it is advisable to declare the variables at the top, but it is not mandatory to declare the variables at the top. This means that the variable can be declared right at the place of the first use. This makes the program much easier to write and reduces the error that may be caused by having to scan back and forth. It makes the program easier to understand because the variables are declared in the context of their use. So it allows the declaration of the variable that is used anywhere in the space or scope. Now this is a program. There is a int main, then there is a float x, then float sum equals to 0. That is also the declaration. This is also the declaration, that is a for loop is used. It starts with the 1, that is int I equals to 1, and I is less than 5, that is start from 1, that is 1 2 3 4, that is a 4 time, then there is a I plus plus, then cin x, then sum equals to sum plus x, then float average, then average equals to sum divided by I minus 1, then cout average, then there is a return 0, that is a return 0, then there is a closing of the curly braces. The only disadvantage of this style of declaration is that we cannot see all the variable that is used in a scope at a glance. This is also one of the major limitation, that we cannot see at the glance, that is we cannot see the same variables that is used in a scope at a glance. Then next is dynamic initialization of variable, that is how to use dynamic initialization, that is how to dynamically initialize the variables. So in C++ it's also a method, it's also a technique to declare the variable in a dynamic form, in a dynamic movement, that is a dynamic initialization of variable, that is dynamically it is available, or dynamically it is available in the, that is dynamically it is available with the this one, that is it is used with the. So the variable can be initialized at a runtime, at a Wi-Fi cost, at a grammar cost, that is used as a various expressions at a place of declaration. For example, these are the valid initialization statements. So these are the valid initialization statement that is given at the this one end. This is int end, that is equals to str length string, then float area equals to 3.14 into rad. Then next is your reference variable. So whenever we give, or to whenever we want to give a alias name, that is a alternative name for a previously defined variable. Suppose we have defined the variable as a. Now if I want to give the alias name, if I want to give the alternative name to the variable a, that can be used or that can be done by using the reference variable. So a reference variable provides an alias, that is an alternative name for a previously defined variable. For example, we make the variable sum a reference to the variable total. Sum and then sum and the total can be used interchangeably to represent the variable. That is, we have given the name, or we have changed the name of the total to the or by the sum. That is, the total is used, that is replaced by the sum. Then the sum and the total, that are the two variables that can be used interchangeably to represent that variable. A reference variable is created as follows. This is data type, then ampersand reference name, then equals to variable name. So this is the example, that is the data type is float, then there is a total equals to 100, then this is ampersand sum equals to total. That means the total variable is used right now as a sum variable. That is, the name of the total is changes to the sum. So if I use sum and the total, that both contains the 100 value. Total is a float type variable that has already been declared. Sum is the alternative name that is declared to represent the variable total. Both the variable refers to the same data object in the memory. This is cout total, this is cout sum. Both prints the value 100. This is just an example how to use the variable, how to use the data types. Now next is operators in C++. So these are the various operators that is used in C++. Like first is scope resolution operator that we have already studied. So there are 4 dots, that is known as the scope resolution operator. This is the memory release operator, line feed operator, new, that is a memory allocation operator, set w, that is a field width operator. So these are the various operators. Now next is scope resolution operator that is used, that is the use, that is used, that is the like this one. This is a scope resolution operator in which the block it is defined like this one. So in C, the global version of a variable can be extracted within the inner block. C++ resolve this problem by introducing a new variable. So if a global version if a global version of a variable wants to access of if the inner block wants to access the global variable, that can be possible by using the scope resolution operator. This is an example that shows how to use the scope resolution operator. Then these are the memory differencing operators. These are the 3 operators that is used as a memory referencing, and these are the operator that is used for the memory management, like malloc and calloc. So C uses malloc and calloc. In the same way, in C++, new is used for initializing the memory or allocating the memory, and free is used to deallocate the memory. Right. So one is new, one is the free. And if I want to delete in the memory, that is done by the delete. Then manipulators, that are the operator that is used to format the data display. That is how to format, what are the spaces that is used, that is done by the manipulators. Then typecast operators, that is used as a C function program to typecast the operator. So whenever I want to change the cast, that is done by the typecast operator. Now next is expressions and their type. That is, what are the expressions and what are the types of the expressions. So this is the important part, so I am not discussing right now. I will ref for the tomorrow's class. So that is expressions and their types. That is, what is expression and what are their types. So let's stop over here only. In the next class I will be covering your next topic, that is the expressions and their types. Now listen carefully about the assignment. Right, assignments, I have made the assignment for you, like I will show you just a minute, but that there are some modification in this assignment. Where is the assignment? Yeah, this is the assignment. I have made this assignment, but there are some modification from the Excel point of view, Edexcel point of view. So I have to make the changes in the assignment so that this assignment work well for you. So this is assignment for the procedure programming. This is the assignment that we have discussed. So I will discuss this assignment after taking out the reply from the assignment university, from the assignment concerned team. So it takes around 1 or 2 days. So I will give you assignment after then. So if there is any doubt, if there is any clarification, you can ask from me. And that's all for today's session. If there is any doubts, there is suggestions. Yes, Joseph, hello, how are you? Yes, hello sir, कैसे हो? Good afternoon, how are you? Good afternoon, how are you? Okay, yeah, tell me Joseph. Yeah, Joseph, tell me. Return zero means returning some value. Yeah, returning some value means if we are using the int main. Yeah, just listen. If I'm using the int main. Mhm. Hello, hello. Yeah, if I'm using the int main. Yeah, if I'm using the int main, that means the main has a return type int. So if I return anything, if I use the return type, so why can't I give the return value? So in case of return 0, that means nothing is returned, but we have returned the value because it's the return type is int. So that's why it is using as the return 0. That means returning some value, whether the value may be 0, whether the value may be 1, any value that is used. Any other doubts? So, so that's all. In the tomorrow's class, I will be taking a next topic, that is the expressions and their types. So thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye.